Social media is already in your head, twisting your thoughts, steering your choices, and you've barely noticed. Right now, invisible forces are using sneaky mind tricks to guide what you feel, think, and do, all without your consent. Let us dive into these hidden tactics that have shaped everything from what you buy to how you vote. But beware, once you see the final trick, there's no going back. The silent strings behind every choice. Every single day, we're caught in a whirlwind of tricks that secretly mess with our heads. These aren't flashy or obvious moves. They're sneaky little nudges, quietly steering our choices without us even noticing. Let's break down how these tricks work and how they've become part of our lives, twisting what we think, feel, and do without us catching on. But here's the twist. There's one trick so powerful, so deeply embedded in our daily lives, that once you see it, you'll never unsee it. And it might just change the way you view the world forever. It all starts with simple things, words, images, or situations that seem harmless. These aren't random. They're picked to make us feel something or agree with what we already believe. Social proof is another sneaky move. This is where we copy what others do, because we figure if everyone's into it, it must be worth it. Think about reviews or those limited spots left messages. They're playing on our need to fit in. If everyone else is jumping on the bandwagon, our brains go along without careful thought. We just follow the crowd. Then there's the authority trick. If someone with a fancy title or an expert vibe says something, we tend to believe it without digging deeper. Ads love tossing in doctors or scientists to make products seem legit. The moment we see a lab coat or hear technical words, our guard drops and we're sold. Repetition is another favorite tool. Ever had a song stuck in your head because it's played nonstop? That's how jingles and slogans work. Hearing the same thing over and over makes it familiar and, weirdly enough, trustworthy. It slips into our brain and stays there, shaping how we see things without us realizing it. Scarcity is a big one too. The minute we think something's rare, it suddenly feels way more valuable. Phrases like limited time or last chance push us to act fast. Our brains hate the idea of missing out, so we rush in before thinking it through. It's like a panic button for our subconscious. Feelings also play a huge part. People are way more emotional than logical when making decisions. Tap into fear, nostalgia, or joy, and you've got a direct line to their choices. Politicians do it all the time, stirring fear to win support. Marketers use nostalgia to make their stuff feel comforting or special. It's all about hitting the right emotional notes to get us on board. Anchoring is another subtle move. This is when the first thing you see sets the tone for everything after. A crazy high price tag makes a smaller discount seem like a steal, even if it's still pricey. It's all about setting expectations, and once they're locked in, it's hard to shake them. Colors are a sneaky but powerful trick too. They mess with our feelings and actions in ways we barely notice. Red screams urgency and energy, which is why it's slapped on clearance signs. Blue feels calm and reliable, making it the go-to for banks and tech companies. These little color cues tweak how we feel and what we do without us catching on. Framing is another brain hack. It's all about how stuff is presented. Saying something is 90% effective sounds way better than saying it's 10% not effective, even though it's the same thing. It's a clever way to make us focus on the good stuff and forget the bad. Then, there's priming. This is when you're subtly set up to think or act a certain way. For example, if you see a bunch of fancy cars and then go shopping, you might splurge more. It's because those earlier images got your brain in a certain mindset. You're not even aware it's happening, but it's totally shaping your choices. The fear of missing out, or FOMO, is a modern twist on old-school scarcity tricks. Social media is all over this. Seeing everyone else having fun or scoring deals makes us feel like we're being left out. It's a nudge to join in or buy in, so we don't feel like the odd one out. Subliminal messaging is the most direct mind game out there. These are hidden cues buried in ads or videos meant to push us without us even noticing. It's still debated how much it works, but the idea is to plant ideas in our heads quietly and subtly. Cognitive biases are the shortcuts our brains take that manipulators love to exploit. One example is confirmation bias. We're more likely to agree with stuff that matches what we already believe. Another is the availability heuristic, where we give more weight to things that pop into our heads easily, even if they're not the full story. These tricks work because they're baked into how we think. The media's a master at these games too. They use storytelling, selective reporting, and emotional hooks to shape how we see the world. Constant exposure to their narratives locks certain ideas into our heads, often without us realizing where they came from. Social media takes it up a notch. Algorithms watch what we like and feed us more of it, creating echo chambers that reinforce our views. It's a loop that digs deeper into our subconscious, shaping not just our opinions, but how we see reality itself. Even places like stores are in on it. The layout, the music, the lighting, everything's designed to make us buy more. It's all about creating a vibe that subtly pushes us to spend. Once you know about these tricks, you can start to fight back. The first step is being aware of them. When you spot the manipulation, you can stop and think before acting. Mindfulness and questioning what you see and hear are your best defenses against being quietly pushed around. Sure, these tricks can be used for good, like in therapy or teaching, but they're often just ways to make money or control opinions. Knowing how they work gives you the power to make smarter choices, dodge the traps, and take back control of your thoughts and actions in a world full of hidden nudges. These tactics stretch far beyond just commercials and ads. Entire industries are designed to leverage these techniques. For instance, political campaigns heavily rely on fear and authority figures to sway voters. Emotional appeals and cleverly framed narratives dominate their messaging. Understanding this can help you recognize when your emotions are being played, rather than engaging in balanced reasoning. Are your choices really yours? Let's find out. True wealth isn't about material possessions. It's about living authentically and prioritizing freedom, creativity, and connection. The system doesn't want you to wake up because an empowered mind is their greatest threat. But once you see the strings, you can't unsee them. And that's where your power lies. The moment you realize how much of your mind has been shaped by external forces, you gain the power to reclaim it. The illusion that controls your thoughts, desires, and actions can be broken, but only through awareness. It's time to challenge the systems that have molded you and rewrite your own narrative. Reclaiming your mind means reconnecting with your true self, free from manipulation. The question now is, are you ready to escape the illusion and take back control? Escape the illusion and reclaim your mind. Breaking free from the illusion of subconscious control is more than an act of defiance. It's a transformative journey towards self-awareness and empowerment. The layers of conditioning that shape our thoughts, actions, and beliefs can feel like an impenetrable barrier. But understanding their origin and learning how to dismantle them can redefine what freedom truly means in your life. Every day, tiny choices are made for you without your consent. The color red in a sales sign sparks urgency, as if a primal alarm goes off in your mind. A carefully crafted headline ignites fear, nudging you to act or believe without question. Even the autoplay feature on your favorite streaming platform traps you in an endless loop, stealing hours of your life while you remain blissfully unaware. The cage isn't visible, but its bars are made of subtle manipulations, woven so tightly into the fabric of reality that you rarely notice their presence. Have you ever picked up your phone to check the time, only to find yourself scrolling through apps moments later, unsure why? Or felt an inexplicable sense of inadequacy after seeing an ad for a luxury car, even though you had no intention of buying one? This isn't a coincidence. It's control, carefully engineered, almost predatory, designed to keep you compliant and consuming. To break free, you must start by examining the origin of your beliefs. For instance, Why do so many believe the path to happiness is a straight line? Study hard, get a degree, secure a job, and retire peacefully. These scripts weren't born from your soul. They were passed down by authority figures, cultural traditions, and media narratives. Imagine this. A child watches their parent toil day and night, convinced this is the only way to survive. Years later, that same child works tirelessly, never questioning why. The first step toward liberation is to confront these inherited scripts and ask, who benefits from my conformity? But awareness alone isn't enough. Fear must also be addressed. Fear is the invisible chain that keeps you from running free. Consider how fear drives decisions, from avoiding risks to following rules you don't fully understand. In 1938, a radio broadcast of the War of the Worlds caused widespread panic as listeners believed aliens were invading. The fear spread like wildfire, paralyzing entire communities, all because of a voice on the radio. Now, think of modern fear-mongering. Sensationalized news stories that amplify your anxieties, or governments using fear of the unknown to manipulate behavior. But here's the secret. Fear thrives in the shadows. Shine a light on it, dissect its roots, and it begins to lose its grip. Advertising, too, is a master manipulator. It doesn't merely sell products, it sells identities. A perfume ad doesn't promise you a bottle of fragrance. It promises allure, confidence, and desirability. Picture this. A lonely woman scrolling social media sees an influencer flaunting a perfect life. She clicks on a link to a weight loss product, not for the product itself, but for the fleeting hope of transforming her existence. This is how desires, not your own, are planted in your mind, feeding industries while draining your sense of self. Escaping these traps requires a detox from distractions. Imagine you're at a family dinner, yet everyone is glued to their phones, absorbed in a curated world of pixels. Social media algorithms, designed to keep you scrolling, feed you an endless stream of envy-inducing content. You find yourself comparing your life to others, even though deep down, you know their photos are filtered lies. To reclaim your mind, set boundaries. Turn off notifications, delete apps if you must, and replace those stolen moments with quiet reflection. Mindfulness becomes your weapon in this battle. Meditation, for instance, allows you to step outside the whirlwind of thoughts and observe them without judgment. In that stillness, you begin to see your mind's conditioned patterns as though they were lines of code written by someone else. It's like standing in the middle of a storm and realizing the chaos can't touch you. You learn to rewrite this code through mindfulness, replacing reactive habits with deliberate choices. But let's not ignore the horror of blind obedience to authority. History offers chilling examples, from the Salem witch trials to totalitarian regimes, where unquestioned compliance led to unthinkable atrocities. Even in everyday life, you follow rules and norms without understanding their origins or consequences. Why? Because challenging them feels dangerous. Yet, true freedom lies in questioning authority, not with reckless defiance, but with critical thinking. Ask yourself, whose interest does this serve? Redefining success is equally vital. The world may tell you that wealth, power, or status defines your worth. But how many wealthy individuals have admitted to feeling empty, their mansions echoing with loneliness? Consider the artist Vincent van Gogh, who found joy in painting fields of sunflowers despite dying penniless. His life reminds us that fulfillment often lies in authenticity, not in chasing external markers of success. Remember that the cage is constantly evolving. Technology grows smarter, algorithms more cunning, and societal pressures more insidious. You must remain vigilant, like a lighthouse piercing through the fog. Surround yourself with people who challenge your thoughts, not reinforce the illusions. Learn continuously, adapt relentlessly, and never stop questioning. Breaking free from the illusion isn't a one-time act. It's a lifelong journey. But the rewards are profound. A life unshackled from manipulation, filled with purpose and authenticity. The power to reclaim your mind is within you. The question is, will you use it? Breaking free from subconscious control starts with realizing how political and religious systems manipulate your mind. Are you ready to uncover the truth and reclaim your freedom? Controlling your mind. When you look closer, you'll begin to see that political parties and religious organizations are not just shaping policies and guiding beliefs. They're actively controlling your mind, manipulating your emotions, and influencing the way you view the world. This subtle yet powerful control has been in play for centuries, and it's time to uncover how these entities use psychological techniques to maintain their grip over your thoughts and actions. Political parties are masters at playing with your emotions. Their success lies not in presenting the facts, but in creating a narrative that resonates with you emotionally. The best way to control a population is not by logic, but by targeting its emotions: fear, anger, pride, and hope. One of the most common tactics used by political parties is the manipulation of fear. By exaggerating threats, be they economic, social, or cultural, politicians can rally support by making you feel like something critical is at stake. This might come in the form of warnings about crime, terrorism, or political instability. Politicians can use fear to rally support for policies, while simultaneously framing the opposition as a greater threat. The constant bombardment of fear leads to people making decisions not out of logic, but out of anxiety and a desire to protect themselves from perceived dangers. Another powerful tool in the political arsenal is the creation of an us versus them mentality. This tactic divides the population into two groups: one that is portrayed as virtuous, good, and deserving, and the other as corrupt, dangerous, or inferior. Political leaders often use language that pits groups against each other, labeling one side as the enemy. This emotional manipulation builds tribalism, making it more difficult for individuals to view opposing perspectives objectively. You begin to see those with differing views not as fellow citizens, but as enemies to be defeated. This deep emotional divide makes it harder for any productive dialogue or compromise to take place. Political campaigns are filled with slogans and sound bites designed to bypass your critical thinking. These catchy phrases are meant to evoke strong emotions rather than provoke thought. The goal is to create an emotional bond with the electorate, one that makes people feel like they are part of something bigger than themselves. Words like freedom, patriotism, or change are often used to trigger emotional responses without giving people the opportunity to question what these words really mean or what the policies behind them actually entail. Politicians are skilled at promising hope, particularly during election cycles. They create a vision of a brighter future where your problems will be solved, your fears alleviated, and your desires fulfilled. This emotional promise keeps you invested, even when the promises are rarely delivered. When the promised change doesn't materialize, the emotional dependency on the party or the leader grows stronger as you continue to hope for what has been promised. Hope becomes a commodity, and once you invest in that hope, your emotional attachment to the party deepens. Much like political parties, religious organizations have long known how to use emotions to control and shape people's beliefs. By tapping into some of the most profound human emotions, fear of the unknown, desire for belonging, and the search for purpose, religious groups have created systems that are emotionally irresistible. One of the oldest tactics used by religious organizations is the fear of punishment or damnation. Many religions teach that if you do not adhere to their rules and beliefs, you will be condemned to an eternity of suffering. This fear is deeply emotional, as it ties into some of the most primal human concerns: the fear of death, the fear of suffering, and the fear of being alone or forgotten. By instilling this fear, religious organizations effectively keep followers in line, ensuring obedience not just through action, but through emotional control. On the flip side of fear is the promise of salvation or enlightenment. This is often framed as the ultimate reward for those who obey the teachings and follow the prescribed path. Much like politicians, religious leaders use this emotional carrot to keep their followers engaged. By offering a sense of hope and meaning, they encourage individuals to invest emotionally in the organization's teachings, creating a dependency on the belief that only through their guidance can one achieve eternal peace, salvation, or enlightenment. Many religious systems rely heavily on guilt. The idea that you are sinful, flawed, or unworthy without the organization's guidance can be used to make individuals feel emotionally responsible for their own spiritual shortcomings. Guilt, when manipulated effectively, can be an incredibly powerful emotion, one that keeps followers coming back to the church, temple, or mosque to seek redemption, absolution, or forgiveness. The process of seeking redemption reinforces the emotional dependency on the religious institution and its leaders. Religion also provides a sense of belonging, a community in which followers can feel supported, loved, and accepted. The emotional bond that forms within a religious group is powerful. People are drawn to the comfort and connection that come from being part of something larger than themselves. This emotional pull can sometimes cloud an individual's ability to think critically about the beliefs they are being asked to follow. As with political parties, religious organizations often rely on loyalty and emotional attachment to maintain control, discouraging independent thought or questioning of the faith's doctrines. Religious organizations use rituals, symbols, and ceremonies to engage the emotions of their followers. These rituals often serve to reinforce the group's identity and further establish the emotional ties that bind individuals to the belief system. The repetition of certain actions or phrases can alter an individual's emotional state, making them more susceptible to the teachings and control of the group. The use of sacred texts, prayer, and communal worship all serve to emotionally elevate individuals, making them feel connected to something greater than themselves, which in turn makes them more likely to adhere to the group's rules. The intersection of political parties and religious organizations is where emotional manipulation can become especially dangerous. Both institutions often rely on each other to reinforce their control over the populace. Religious leaders may align with political movements to ensure that their messages resonate with the emotional needs of the followers, while political leaders may use religious rhetoric to appeal to voters on a deeply emotional level. This intersection creates a potent combination, one that has the power to shape entire societies through fear, hope, guilt, and the desire for belonging. Both political and religious institutions know that people are not always rational decision makers. They know that emotions are powerful, and they use this knowledge to craft messages that resonate on an emotional level. By controlling your emotions, they control your thoughts, your decisions, and ultimately your reality. And once they have control over your emotions, they have control over your behavior. The key to breaking free from this manipulation is awareness, recognizing that your emotions are being manipulated and reclaiming control over them. The truth is that both political parties and religious organizations have mastered the art of emotional manipulation. By using fear, hope, guilt, and the promise of belonging, they control the way you think, feel, and act. The more aware you become of this manipulation, the more power you have to break free from their grip. The first step in reclaiming your mind is recognizing the ways in which these organizations play with your emotions. Once you see through their tactics, you can begin to think critically, make decisions for yourself, and regain control over your life. Ultimately, the power lies within you. By understanding the ways in which your emotions are being manipulated, you can take back control of your mind and start to live authentically, free from the emotional control exerted by political and religious systems. Political and religious organizations manipulate fear and desire to control our beliefs and actions, creating narratives that trigger strong emotions. By exploiting our fears and desires, they push us to make decisions that may not be our own. Are your choices truly yours? Or are they shaped by those who seek to control your mind? Fear and desire shape your decisions. Fear and desire are the twin engines driving nearly every decision we make. From ancient times, when survival meant fleeing predators or finding food, to today's pursuit of career success and personal fulfillment, these two emotions have always held sway over human behavior. But what if I told you that the way they shape your choices isn't entirely your own doing? Fear, at its core, is about protection. It's what made our ancestors run from saber-toothed tigers, and it's why your heart races when you hear a loud noise in the middle of the night. Today, though, fear is rarely about life or death situations. Instead, it's woven into the fabric of everyday life. Just think of the last time you scrolled through the news. Headlines scream about economic downturns, health scares, or crime rates. This isn't a coincidence. Fear sells. It gets our attention and keeps us coming back, whether it's for another click, another product, or another political promise. Imagine you're watching a late-night commercial for home security systems. The ad shows shadowy figures lurking outside a suburban home. Your mind starts racing. What if that happened to me? Before you know it, you're researching alarm systems and signing up for monthly subscriptions. The fear of danger, real or imagined, nudged you into action. And that's exactly how fear is used as a tool, not just to inform, but to steer. Desire works in a similar way, but instead of pushing us away from danger, it pulls us towards something we believe will complete us. That sleek car, the latest smartphone, the perfect vacation. They all promise a better version of ourselves. Remember the time you saw an ad for a luxury watch? The ad didn't just sell a timepiece, it sold the image of sophistication, success, and envy. You didn't just want the watch, you wanted what it represented. Fear and desire often overlap, creating a potent mix that's hard to resist. Take the fear of missing out. Ever bought concert tickets you didn't even care for because everyone else was going? That's fear whispering, don't be left out, while desire urges, be part of something special. Social media platforms have perfected this cycle. The endless feed of curated lives taps into our desire for approval while stoking the fear that we're falling behind. Each like, comment, and share becomes a tiny hit of validation, keeping us hooked. Even in personal decisions, fear and desire play a tug-of-war. You might stay in a job you dislike because you fear financial instability. But on the flip side, desire tempts you with the idea of starting your own business, promising freedom and success. The result? You stay stuck, torn between the safety of the known and the allure of the unknown. The key to breaking this cycle lies in awareness. Think about financial decisions. Many people panic when the stock market dips, selling investments at the worst possible time because they fear losing everything. Others jump into risky ventures because they desire quick wealth. Both reactions are emotional, not rational. A friend of mine, for example, once liquidated his savings during a market crash, only to watch the market recover and climb higher. He realized later that his decision wasn't based on logic, but on fear of loss. Recognizing how fear and desire influence you doesn't mean eliminating them, it means questioning them. Ask yourself, is this decision driven by what I genuinely want, or am I reacting to external pressure? The next time you feel compelled to buy something, pause. Is it solving a real need, or is it playing on your emotions? Mindfulness can be a powerful tool here. By slowing down and observing your thoughts, you can begin to separate genuine needs from emotional triggers. When you notice an ad stirring desire or a news story heightening fear, take a moment to reflect. Are these emotions leading you toward choices aligned with your true values? The reality is that anxiety and inspiration aren't going anywhere. They're hardwired into us, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. Fear can protect us, and desire can inspire us. But when these forces are manipulated by external influences, we lose our autonomy. Reclaiming control means recognizing the game and choosing to act with intention, rather than reacting on impulse. It's not about shutting off fear or suppressing desire. It's about steering them. When you can harness their power, you stop being a passenger in your own life and start taking the wheel. Every choice becomes an opportunity to align with what truly matters to you rather than what the world tries to sell you. This concept becomes especially relevant when considering the impact of TV serials and series. These shows, often crafted to tug at our emotions and desires, have a profound ability to shape our thoughts, values, and even our priorities. Impact of TV serials and series. TV serials and series are more than just entertainment. They are powerful tools of influence that subtly shape our perceptions, beliefs, and emotions. While we might think of these shows as harmless ways to unwind, they often play a much larger role in controlling our minds, shaping our subconscious, and dictating the way we think, feel, and act. From the characters we identify with to the values and narratives that are consistently reinforced, TV shows have a profound effect on how we view ourselves, others, and the world around us. At the heart of every successful TV show is a well-crafted narrative designed to captivate, engage, and ultimately manipulate the viewer. Storytelling is a powerful psychological tool, and when done correctly, it can invoke a range of emotions, from excitement and joy to sadness and fear. These emotional responses are key to keeping viewers hooked, but more importantly, they influence the subconscious mind. Shows often set up complex characters and intricate plots that pull you in, making you care deeply about the outcomes. Whether it's a heart-wrenching love story, a thrilling mystery, or a gripping drama, TV series are expertly crafted to keep your emotions engaged. In doing so, these shows often build emotional connections that go beyond the screen. You start to feel like you know the characters, and their struggles, triumphs, and downfalls resonate with your own life experiences. This emotional investment is powerful. It can shape your perceptions and create a sort of mental alignment with the character's beliefs and actions. For instance, you might find yourself agreeing with a character's moral stance or feeling sympathy for their choices. This identification with characters subtly affects your own behavior and decisions. Over time, you begin to internalize the values presented in the show, adopting them as your own. TV series have the power to normalize behaviors, attitudes, and social dynamics that might otherwise seem unusual or extreme. The more you watch something, the more it starts to feel like a reflection of reality. Whether it's the portrayal of certain lifestyles, social issues, or even problematic behaviors, television has the ability to shape public perceptions and normalize things that might once have been considered taboo or controversial. For example, many popular TV shows and series portray idealized versions of relationships, wealth, success, and beauty, often reinforcing unrealistic standards. A character might live in a luxurious home, wear designer clothes, and lead a life filled with drama and excitement. But this representation becomes skewed when it is constantly consumed. The more viewers watch such shows, the more these ideals can become ingrained in their subconscious. They begin to measure their own lives against these artificial standards, which can lead to dissatisfaction, unrealistic expectations, and unhealthy comparisons. Similarly, TV shows often normalize violence, substance abuse, and other harmful behaviors. Characters in shows like crime dramas, thrillers, or even comedy series can get away with actions that would have real-life consequences. But when these actions are presented as part of the plot, they often lose weight. The more a viewer watches these scenarios unfold, the more desensitized they become to such behaviors. What might once have seemed shocking becomes normalized as viewers are repeatedly exposed to it, altering their perceptions of right and wrong. One of the most powerful ways TV series shape ideology is through the portrayal of social issues. Topics like race, gender, and class are frequently addressed in TV shows, often with a specific agenda in mind. These shows can influence viewers' attitudes toward these topics by presenting one-sided narratives and shaping perceptions about what is right, wrong, or acceptable in society. The portrayal of certain groups or individuals in specific ways can affect how viewers see these people in real life, reinforcing stereotypes or challenging long-held biases. Television shows also have an addictive quality, which can further contribute to the control they have over viewers' minds. This is not just about getting viewers to watch more episodes or series, but about creating an emotional dependency. Much like social media, TV shows use a technique called cliffhangers to keep viewers coming back. At the end of every episode, a dramatic twist or unresolved storyline is introduced, leaving the viewer with a desire to know what happens next. This is designed to activate the brain's reward system, making you feel a sense of anticipation and excitement. As a result, viewers become addicted to the emotional highs that these shows provide, creating a psychological loop where the viewer feels the need to keep watching in order to get their fix. This addiction to TV shows can lead to unhealthy viewing habits, such as binge watching. While watching TV in moderation is generally harmless, the constant consumption of shows can lead to a lack of balance in a person's life. Time spent in front of the screen becomes time that could have been spent on more fulfilling, productive, or enriching activities. The addictive nature of TV series ensures that people remain hooked, making it more difficult to break free from the cycle of emotional manipulation and dependency. Furthermore, the portrayal of material wealth, luxury, and consumer culture in many TV shows can create a desire for the same lifestyle. Viewers begin to associate happiness, success, and fulfillment with material possessions, leading them to make purchasing decisions based on what they've seen on TV. This constant exposure to consumerism can lead to a mindset where satisfaction is linked to buying products, creating a cycle of consumerism that benefits companies and advertisers. Television shows also provide an escape from the complexities and challenges of real life. For many, shows become a way to disconnect from personal problems, allowing them to immerse themselves in the fictional worlds created by writers and producers. This escape can be beneficial in small doses, offering temporary relief from stress and anxiety. However, over time, this desire for escape can become a means of avoiding reality, leading to a sense of detachment from one's own life. People may begin to prefer the predictability and control of the fictional worlds in their favorite TV shows rather than confronting the uncertainty and complexities of their own lives. Moreover, TV shows often create an illusion of control. Viewers can follow characters through a series of challenges, conflicts, and resolutions, believing that their own lives should follow a similar narrative arc. This idea that life has a clear beginning, middle, and end, with a defined resolution, can be comforting but also unrealistic. The constant drive for closure in TV series makes people yearn for a sense of control in their own lives, often leading them to make decisions based on fictional outcomes rather than real-world realities. While TV shows are an essential part of modern entertainment, it's crucial to recognize the ways in which they subtly influence your mind, emotions, and decisions. By manipulating your emotions through storytelling, normalizing certain behaviors, and shaping your perceptions of reality, TV series plays a significant role in controlling your mindset. The more conscious you become of these influences, the more power you have to make intentional choices about what you watch, how much you watch, and how much you allow television to shape your thoughts and beliefs. By breaking free from the grip of mindless consumption, you can reclaim control over your mental and emotional well-being. What if everything you've been driven to do is not your own choice, but the result of fear and desire carefully manipulated by others? Tips to strengthen your mind. Building a strong mind that no one can control is one of the most empowering things you can do in today's world. Think of it this way. Your mind is like a TV with way too many channels, and for some reason, it's always tuned to the anxiety and fear network. But here's the good news. You hold the remote. With the right approach, you can switch the channel, turn down the noise, and take charge of your mental landscape every day. We're bombarded with external forces trying to shape our thoughts. Media, social networks, even well-meaning family and friends. But by cultivating a resilient mind, you can create a fortress of clarity and self-determination. And that fortress? It starts with mental discipline. Just like your body needs regular exercise to stay fit, your mind needs practice to remain sharp and resilient. Meditation and mindfulness are fantastic tools for this. Imagine your mind as a snow globe, constantly shaken by the chaos of daily life. Mindfulness helps the snow settle, allowing you to see clearly through the glass. By training your mind to recognize distractions and emotional triggers, you gain the power to make deliberate choices rather than reacting impulsively. Of course, a strong mind isn't just about discipline, it's about knowing who you are. When you have a clear sense of identity, You're less likely to get swept up in the latest trends or societal pressures. Think of identity as your mental anchor, keeping you steady no matter how strong the cultural currents get. I once knew someone who, for years, bought every trendy gadget that hit the market. It wasn't until they stepped back and realized they didn't even like most of those products that they stopped letting advertising dictate their choices. When you know what truly matters to you, you stop being a puppet on someone else's string. But let's talk about critical thinking, because it's a superpower in the age of information overload. In a world where clickbait headlines and viral misinformation thrive, being able to evaluate and question what you hear is priceless. Think of critical thinking as your mental spam filter. It catches the junk before it clutters your thoughts. Instead of passively absorbing everything, you actively engage with it, asking, "Does this make sense? Who benefits if I believe this?" This habit not only strengthens your mind, but also makes it much harder for anyone to orchestrate your thoughts. Now, here's a twist. Embracing discomfort and uncertainty is a game changer. Yes, it sounds counterintuitive, but leaning into the unknown builds mental toughness. Picture this. You're climbing a steep hill on a bike. It's hard, your legs burn, and you're tempted to quit. But once you reach the top, the view is breathtaking. Similarly, embracing challenges helps you grow stronger and less reliant on external validation. When you stop seeking constant comfort or approval, you stop handing over the keys to your mental kingdom. Speaking of growth, adopting a growth mindset is like upgrading your brain's operating system. People with a growth mindset don't see failures as permanent. They see them as stepping stones. Imagine someone who always dreamed of being an artist, but gave up after one bad painting. Contrast that with someone who embraces the challenge, learns from it, and creates a masterpiece years later. A growth mindset keeps you flexible and resilient, no matter how much life throws at you. Let's not forget the importance of physical health. Your mind and body are teammates, and when one slacks off, the other suffers. Regular exercise isn't just about looking good. It's like giving your brain a power boost. A balanced diet, good sleep, and movement improve mood, focus, and emotional stability. When your body is in sync, your mind becomes less susceptible to external influences, whether it's stress, fear, or flashy marketing. Another way to maintain mental clarity is by managing distractions. Modern life is like trying to focus on a single note in a S, but you can control who gets a front row seat in your life. Finally, self-awareness is your ultimate tool. It's like shining a flashlight in the dark corners of your mind, exposing any external influences trying to creep in. By consistently reflecting on your thoughts, emotions, and behaviors, you can spot when you're being nudged off course and realign with your true values. Self-awareness doesn't mean second-guessing everything. It means knowing when to trust yourself and when to challenge the voices around you. So, the next time the world tries to flip your mental channel, remember, you're the one holding the remote. With a little practice, you can tune into clarity, confidence, and self-control, creating a mind that's not just strong, but unshakable. And if all else fails, just remember that life's too short to stay stuck on the anxiety and fear network. Symphony. While every instrument plays at once, notifications, emails, and endless updates fragment our thoughts and make us more vulnerable to external conditioning. By focusing on one thing at a time, whether through mindfulness, setting boundaries, or simply turning off your phone, you reclaim control over your mental energy. Here's a fun thought. The people you surround yourself with are like the playlist for your mind. Are they playing empowering anthems or draining ballads of negativity? Surrounding yourself with uplifting, inspiring individuals can strengthen your mental capacity, while distancing yourself from toxic relationships can protect your mental well-being. Remember, you can't control the world. Thanks for watching. Hit subscribe and start questioning. Who's pulling the strings of your mind?